248.
Hello, hashtag Verse TV family, and welcome. Ooh, it's week 248. Yes, I'm Aaron Mack, and I'm Aaron Mack, right? Definitely. Let's go ahead. I'm Aaron Mack, right? That's who I am, right? Anyway, yes. Let's go ahead and get it started with the question. Get it started, huh? Get it started in here with the question. And it looks like it's going to be a good and fun and easy one. What was the worst job you've ever had? So I guess it's not. No, I will. Okay, so I will take the opportunity to say this. I have been blessed and I'm grateful in my employment that I am able to work with something that I truly enjoy and truly feel passionate about. And it's something that, so I never, okay, so I guess I will answer the question like this. No, actually, I won't answer the question like that. I was going to say my first job out of college, I was working in sales and I that it was tough. It was tough working in media sales for I, I was going to name the station, but that's irrelevant. So working in media sales was complicated. And when I left there to start my second job out of college, which is where I am to this day, hallelujah, I I still remember my manager who was very nice and she was a Delta. Yes, but she was very nice, but she was like, Aaron, you do other things very well, but you are not a salesman. And I was like, what? And there are aspects of the selling that I enjoy. And I think when it came to that, in retrospect, selling is largely about personality. And I was more of the kind of person who would present the numbers and these numbers are what makes this make sense because the numbers say it makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as far as sales, you would have to do that and inject a little bit of personality. And I was, oh my gosh, you guys, like I talked about Ben Stein last week. You know, I don't think I was exactly Ben Stein in these offices asking people to buy some airtime, but I, at that point, at that age, even with a phenomenal job of preparation with my university, Howard University, yes. And I did their Media Sales Institute. I think while I had stepped up and was better than I was, those who like, there are people in that field who are really good at it and make really good money at it, you know? Anyway, I, yeah. I remember I tried to negotiate with, I don't even need to talk about that, but suffice it to say, it was a I don't think it was a bad job. I don't think it was a bad job. So in answer to the question, no, I don't classify it as a bad job. I don't think that any of my jobs have been bad jobs. I love what I do. I don't think I I think I was less than the most effective at that first job. But I feel that I'm blessed and I'm grateful. Even through my whole MS situation, because I was diagnosed with MS. It's not like I came to my second job having MS. I was diagnosed with MS a few years into my second job out of college. And that's a blessing for which I am grateful. Hallelujah. So the song this week is coming from September 1982 debut of Heart to Heart by Kenny Loggins. And I am a Kenny Loggins fan. And I think I'll say that like I say, I'm a Taylor Swift fan. Although I guess when I say it about Taylor Swift, it's because people, I, I am a Kenny Loggins fan. Yes, I enjoy his music a lot. And in the song Heart to Heart off his album entitled High Adventure, more grown folks music, right? Because he's talking in the song about having to, ooh, yes, 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 having to have a heart to heart with his partner to get through together. You know, one of the lines he says, "You ain't crazy, I ain't gonna lie anymore. What you're feeling, there's a reason for. I want to do right. Yes, this time I've got to do right." Yes, and I love that. And I also love how part of the lyrics as well, he talks about this could be our final chance, but I'm reaching out. Let's have this heart to heart, not just throwing a dude away, Aaron, like you used to do. Today's show is going to be quite interesting because I'm talking about a lot of very honest things. Yes. But I love that song, Heart to Heart. And as far as the video, like I don't know if he did it more than once, but there was a time that he reached out. Let's have this heart to heart, you know? This could be our final try. But anyway, heart to heart. I love it. I love I'm 40, right? I'm 40. And I love as I am growing. Oh, but as I'm growing, I love the idea of working with your partner. I used to just be like, if we're having problems, it's because we're not meant to be together. So I'm sorry, but I guess we should just end it. And I wouldn't say it like that, but I'd be like, I used to be really, I'm going to let y'all in on a secret, then we're going to go on to topic A. This is bad. I was bad. But I remember I would, when I would feel that the relationship is coming to a close, I would know know the words to say to make you think that you want to bring the relationship to a close, even though it was because I was ignorant and insecure and unaware of stuff. And I stated things to have you be like, so are you saying that we need to break up? Well, since you're bringing it up, I guess since you think that we need to break up, since you're telling me that you want to break up with me, fine. I guess there's nothing else that can be done. Anyway, but yes. So that was so. Anyway, uh, but yeah, and I would do that, and then turn around and wonder why I was so just me. It's got me, myself, and I. You know. Anyway, are we ready for topic A? Hashtag Burst TV family, and be sure to like, share, subscribe, and to share again. And please do not forget to click like. Okay, y'all. I was watching clips of Dynasty, which I love to see the clips that people post on social media of Dynasty. And I'm like, I bet people think that when I say stuff like thank you, yes, thank you, that I got it from Dynasty. I don't know where, but it's just maybe that's all a part of it. Maybe not. I don't know. But Dynasty is super cool. Love it. Okay. All of it. Anyway. Diva Classy. Okay.
Hashtag less sex. LATimes.com. Hashtag FirstTV248A. Los Angeles Times, California. A quote, failure to launch, end quote. Why Young People Are Having Less Sex by Hannah Fry, staff writer, August 3rd, 2023. Vivian Rose figured she would eventually have sex. She was raised in a Christian household in Washington state and thought sex before marriage would be the ultimate rebellion. But then college came and went and no sex. Even flirting felt unnatural, she said. In her early 20s, she watched someone she followed on Tumblr come out as asexual and realized that's how she felt. She had yet to develop romantic feelings for anyone, and the physical act of sex just didn't sound appealing. A quote below, and continued, for what researchers say is an array of reasons, including technology, heavy academic schedules, and an overall slow motion process of growing up, millennials and now Gen Zers are having less sex with fewer partners than their parents and grandparents did. The social isolation and transmission scares of the COVID-19 pandemic have no doubt played a role in the shift, but researchers say that that's not the whole story. The, quote, no rush for sex, end quote, trend predates the pandemic, according to a solid body of research. Article continues.
So, some of the farther statistics farther down in the article, it was a full article. It was a good read. Yes. Thank you, Speechify. Anyway, okay. But yes, they gave statistics explaining. First, I'll say, yay, I'm actually a millennial forerunner in that movement, and I am proud of that. Yes. All right, forerunner. Toyota. Anyway, but yeah, I think Toyota does still make the forerunner. Anyway, persons age 18 to 30 in the year 2021, 38% of them had not had sex in the past year. And that was up from 2011, in which 22% of people aged 18 to 30, and I was included in that number, yes, because in 2011, I was in that group, and 22% of people aged 18 to 30 did not have sex with a partner in the past year. And I think that's interesting. Now, I don't know if no, because, okay, let's do it. The year 2011, that would have been the year that I turned 28. Who was I dating at 28? I don't know. Oh, yes. I remember that time. Do you remember the time? Yes. Yeah, I remember this one dude I was dating because I was living in DC, and he was, anyway, I don't need to talk about him. Although, for crying out loud, I'm sharing so much with everybody today, I might as well. But yeah, he was beautiful. I did that for that's 5. So it's been just a couple. Okay. Yes. Yay. So I think so contrary to what I said, as far as I was able to talk to guys in such a way to when I felt that it was time to end the relationship, that they would be like that they would bring it, I would be able to get them to bring it up and then be like, well, since you're bringing it up. But with the guy that I was dating, I think when I was 28, because I think I remember, he is one of the people who just broke up with me. It was like, Aaron, I am done. And I was like, what? But you're so beautiful, please. Anyway, but yes. So, yeah, I think if they would have surveyed me, I probably would have been one of those people who's like, I have not had sex in the past year. I kind of almost always had a boyfriend, but I would not have sex, which was ridiculous of me. Oh my gosh. I just remembered who. Anyway, y'all, stop it. Stop it. I remember the actual answer to that question, and I certainly will not go into that. Talking like Dynasty. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah. And yes, I was a proud forerunner in the low sex movement. And people used to kind of tease me a little bit about it. It would be like, Aaron, You need more sex. I make sure that these legs get spread and I almost cussed, but I make s- I make sure I'm having sex at least multiple times a week. And I'd be like, I hear you, but I don't think I don't know. Not me. Sorry. And I often talk about my thought days, my sexual exploration days. And they were indeed what they were. But as I always say, I was just looking for love at all the wrong bedrooms. And then when my prude days came, yes, that's right. That is right. Oh my gosh. Because yes, I was a prude who didn't have sex with anybody. Even when I was in a relationship, I wouldn't have sex with anybody from age 23 to 32. And that's at 32 is when I met the man that I initially thought I was going to marry. So I was like, well, I guess I might as well just give it all up to you now because, like I've been holding on to it. Anyway, that's a long story. So, in talking with also part of the reason the article spoke about people having less sex, they say yes, the pandemic, of course, did play a role, and diseases also play a role, of course. And nevertheless, the decline has been going on since before the pandemic. And I was speaking with my gym trainer guy who is a 95 baby. And he, uh, and this is actually what made me think of this topic and want to look it up. But he was like, yeah, people in my age group, 95 and younger and such, really don't have a lot of sex. And I think that that comes from the fact that media has pushed so much sex in our lives. Everything is so sex. And it really just comes down to the lack of creativity on the part of those creating media because it's like, well, sex sells, so I'm gonna sell it. And it's like because Gen X and younger millennials and myself got so much sex in media and everything, it's no longer like a rite of passage for anybody. Yeah, and I think that's exactly what it is. Like when you turn 21, I still remember when people did this when we crossed over at 21. And it was like people were like, yeah, it's a rite of passage. I've got to have something to drink. I didn't, but other people did. And was probably also a rite of passage. But the younger folk and myself, I put myself in there. I don't think that's why. But the younger people have just had their upbringing so saturated with sex. And I remember talking with them, the 95 baby, my gym guy, and he was like, there are shows that I will watch with my parents, and I get so uncomfortable when they throw in those obligatory sex scenes. And I'm like, this is what he is saying. I'm like, I'm here with my parents. What are you doing? Showing all of this sex. Just have a good conversation and make it entertaining. I don't need sex. And again, the younger folk are having less sex. And I remember a 30 something friend of mine I was talking with not too long ago. he had a physical interaction with a Gen Z adult, right? And I got kind of upset on the phone because I was like, I remembered myself when I started my thought days at 19 and I had it up to, again, 23. And I was getting upset with him on the phone a little bit because I'm like, I know when I was, yes, okay, I'm being honest on today's episode. I was sucking a lot of dicks. All of the dicks that I was sucking, I would hope that it would lead to love. And it never did for me. For me. Now, I've seen other people talk about, yeah, sex on the first night. Just make sure you do it good and it will lead to lifetime and blissful happiness together. That works for some. It never worked that way for me. So that's why I also went into my prude days. But I was talking with him and I was like, yeah, but you having sex with that younger person, a Gen Z adult, but you having sex with them, they might be thinking that they're building something with you just because of the fact that they let you suck their dick or you sucked their dick, or wait, I think I said the same thing. Either way, there was some exchange of penal play, and they might think that they're building with you. And his response was, nah, like young Gen Z today, Gen Z adults today, those Gen Z folk are all about nothing but sex. All they want is sex. They just want sex. And I remember when he said that, and I was like, I continued my tirade of upset because I was like, I'm willing to bet that those older men that I engaged with while I was between age 19 and 23, I'm willing to bet that they said things like, man, these 80s babies, they all about sex. They just want to get some good dick. And it's like, that's not what I was looking for, you know? And I still remember, okay, and I will tell this story. It's a day of stories, a million of them. I remember this one dude who I particularly liked, and we did that whole first date thing. But we were actually, I saw him on like 3 dates or whatever. So I really felt that, like, since he didn't end it after date 1, like most of people, that I was like, we are really building something. And then he was like, yeah, while I was over there, just finished giving him head and letting him finish. And he was like, oh yeah, my friend next door um wants me to come over. Do you want to come too? And I was like, sure. And I was really thinking like, oh, we are just building, building, building. I'm meeting his friends and everything. I am so special, so very special. And I remember sitting on his friend's couch with him, and his friend said to him, you two make a good couple. You two look good together. And his response was, don't say that to me. I'm single. I'm not dating anybody. I don't date. I don't date anyone. Thank you. And I felt so, I don't want to say cheap, but I guess cheap, because I was like, I just finished sucking your dick across the hall in your apartment, And here you are saying, and in my mind, I was like, that means that we're dating. But here you are saying to your friend that you are not dating anybody. Anyway, so I said all that, and he was, my friend was like, yeah, these Gen Z adults are all about sex. And it's like, again, I believe that's what they said about us 80s adults. When, anyway, I had a lot of older men. I did. Now, in the article, they talk about the delayed milestones of Gen Z and how Gen Z is delaying milestones. Like they are moving out of the house later, and they are getting their driver's licenses later, and they are starting dating and acknowledging sexuality or realizing their sexuality later in life. And they're going to college later in life. I was just talking to Kevin about that yesterday, how college is so ridiculously expensive. It's difficult though, because I did look up, I asked Google but the average salary of somebody with a college degree versus somebody without a college degree. And there is a substantial enough difference that it's like, okay. Because I was like, yeah, but by the time you minus all the money that a somebody with a college degree has to pay in student loans, it's just about even. But it's actually not. But still, it's complicated. And as far as the kids moving out, I had an Uber driver. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. An Uber driver who was talking about how his wife's kids, because it's a blended family, and he was like, her kids still live at home, and they're 28, 27, 28, 25, whatever. They're in their 20s. And I didn't know that statistic at that point, so I would have said it back then. But I didn't realize that it's a trend. Children are staying home later with their parents, taking longer to move out. And that's just is what it is. I wonder how that's going to change things for people. And I know they also mentioned, and by the way, Kev on stage is a fellow 83 baby. And he was like, I always want my kids to come home. My kids are always welcome to come home. He and his wife. Our kids are always welcome to come home. Bring home a boyfriend, bring home a girlfriend, whatever. You're welcome to come home. So it's like, I guess that's the new trend. Cool. And Kevin says hi. I wanted to say that. Oh, yeah. Because they talk also in the article. It was a long article. That's why this is a long topic. But they talk about how this generation of people don't or have less of a problem building an intimate connection with a partner over a great distance using the internet and stuff like that. And how a number of the people they interviewed were like, yeah, my best friend lives across the country, but we stay in touch via the phone and video chat, And once again, I was another forerunner for that because I'm not gonna lie, honestly, some of my best friends, I do have friends up here in Cleveland. Hallelujah, that's a great thing. Some of my best friends are states away from me, but we stay in touch regularly. And in talking with Kevin yesterday, who was another person who is, well, technically, Pennsylvania does border Ohio, but he's on the other side of Pennsylvania. So it's quite a distance. But in talking with Kevin about this topic, he explained that even his mom's best friend was a state away. Now they moved, or she moved, and she's in the same state, not the same city, but they're not too far apart. She moved back to her home state with her husband. And anyway, but yeah. And Kevin says hi. And I question, how will media change as a result of this? As a result of this new knowledge, apparently new knowledge, that this generation is so oversexed. They're tired of it. It's not even a thing. It's no longer a rite of passage. Like the 21-year-old drinking alcohol when they turn 21. It's like, I've had alcohol since I was 15. It's not a big deal. And I remember one of my favorite professors in university, she was such a diva. What does she teach? Sociology. Oh my gosh, she was amazing. Dr. Alderman Swain. Oh, I love her. She was wonderful. And she was talking about how what she did, she was like, I allow my kids to drink at home now. And by kids, I mean like teenagers, right? But I allow them to drink at home now because I do not want them to turn 21 and then see it as a rite of passage and then drink all that they can drink and then end up a statistic, And it's kind of similar as far as young people and sex nowadays, because they're getting so much at home that they don't need it when they grow up. And the article, in closing, the article also mentioned how birth rates are going down, and they're like, yeah, I don't know how we're going to be able to support Social Security for the people who are young adults and adults now, or older adults now, who are looking at retirement in the not too distant future, because there'll be no working young adults to do it because they're not having kids. So once again, world, we shot ourselves in the foot. Investment. Ramit Sethi talks about the importance of investing. Yes. Mm. Oh, I didn't even. Well, all right. Like, share, subscribe, and share again. And please click like. Here we go. Next.
Hashtag for future husband. Heart. Hashtag cooking at tonight's conversation. Hashtag VerseTV248B. Text If you were to cook for me right now, what would you make and why?
And why? Anyway, okay. So, what would really quick initial answer before delving into more? I would cook a bird's eye voila stovetop meal because I'm learning how to do that now instead of pitching any and all money that I get to DoorDash and stuff. And that's another benefit that I've gotten from reading Ramit Sethi's book, because in his book, I will teach you to be rich. He talks about managing your money better, and he's money better. And he's like, people don't, he said, for the people who think that they can't adjust their spending, he's like, I can often go in there and see places that can be adjusted. And one of the places that I've adjusted is, and when I first got to Cleveland, yeah, I was really weak. I was really weak. So I use that as my excuse to be like, that's why I can't cook. So I have to order stuff on DoorDash and Uber Eats. Sorry, because, life. And as I've been I'm rebuilding, I'm getting stronger. Hallelujah. I am able to cook for myself, and I cook bird's eye stovetop meals for myself because it's real quick and easy. And as far as what would I cook, I my answer to that question for a partner, I would be like, I don't cook, so I guess I could pour some milk into cereal for you, baby, you know. But I am learning the bird's eye meals a little bit better because it is easy. It's not microwave, and I used to be sort of anti-microwave, but the skillet meals are actually pretty easy. My pot is really big. So I was like, oh, it's really big and really heavy. Sorry, but I'm able to make it work for the most part. But I wanted a smaller pot, but I have to order one now. Anyway, but yes. So as for that, yeah, I would do skillet meals. And I also, something, I used to think that it would behoove me. I'm doing Darren Fleet, I'm sorry. Yes, it would behoove me to learn how to make jollof rice because I was like, I really want a beautiful West African man. I would just be so in love, enthralled. And the fastest way to a man's heart is his stomach. So I need to cook him some food like he'd get from home, some jollof rice. But I didn't get it, and I did see this. Okay, lo and behold, the man for me, shoot, my boyfriend over a year, you guys, and I mentioned this in the previous topic as far as people building intimate relationships over the internet and stuff like that. Yeah, yet again, I'm a forerunner for that because, yeah, my boyfriend is East African. Yes, he is. And I asked him what his favorite dish is, and he explained it's kidney beans. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's a thing. And I've got to step up my kidney bean cooking game. So, and maybe I'll put some kidney beans in the stovetop meals from Bird's Eye. Bird's Eye Voila stovetop meals. Just sprinkle in some kidney beans. And hey, baby, I made your favorite. Oh, yes. Anyway, but yeah. So, yeah, I am a forerunner of the new age, new world relationship havingness. Yes. Last topic. Like, share, subscribe, share again, and do not forget to click like. Thank you very much.
Hashtag underrated hype TV 248 Luther Barnes somehow, someway at underrated hype TV hashtag Verse TV 248C.
Oof. I wish it could have gone even farther, but it's just a clip. It's just a clip. Be sure to check out the whole song, Luther Barnes, Somehow, Some Way. And that is truly a tear-jerking song for me. Like, even yesterday when I was listening to it, preparing this clip and stuff, like it brought a tear to my eye because one, I have loved this song for years. I remember when I first fell in love with this song. I seem to remember I was in a Taco Bell parking lot off of Route 40. Like I had just gotten some Taco Bell. I was going home or something. And off of Route 40 in Baltimore. And also, when he talks about we're gonna make it to the other side, to the other side. Like that can apply to so many things. Yes, we're gonna make it. And one of the things that I think about, yes, is me and my love. I almost said his name like multiple times. So I'm glad that I didn't. But I think about me and my love. And yes, some said we wouldn't make it. And some said we would never be. And I think part of the complication, and again, being a forerunner, and the long distance love thing that we're building is people just don't understand, you know? And that's okay. That's okay. And I did also add that yes, he, the man that I'm dating internationally, okay, he is the most consistent man that I have ever dated. We talk regularly. Now we're 7 hours apart right now, but he is the most consistent man that I have ever dated. We were just talking video chat earlier today, and you know, trying to work with the 7 hours apart, it's complex, but it in reference to the younger people, I will say I don't know if I anyway. I will speak to this because I did ask Kevin. Well, I was like, if my love and I, sounds like a song, but if my love and my love and I are working to be together in the upcoming future, right? And I wonder if like people for this generation, the Gen Z people, I'm separating myself a little bit because it's like, I wonder if the Gen Z people are like building these romantic relationships online and are able to never go to be together. And do you, do you? I I don't think I could do that. I want, and what I asked Kevin is if they came up with this thing that, like, you know, I'm going to get really, suffice it to say, there are sex toys that you can have that are controlled by a partner on the other side of Wi Fi. So you could have international sex at this point. I still remember years ago in Terminator, he had virtual sex with, oh my gosh, I might have to go back and watch Terminator. Oh my gosh, because that is exactly what it was. And Terminator was like, yes, yes, that's right. Because they were about to have, no, the woman just said to him, like, "Hey, so would you like to have some sex? Let's go ahead and have sex." And the term is Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, "Wow, women in the future just have sex like that. Let's do it. I'm down. Yeah." And she hooked them up to like some digital sex thing, and he was like, what's this?" And she's like, "This is how we have sex." And I remember, of course, he was so uncomfortable in it and all of that. And she was like, "Ugh." And he was like, "No, I thought when you offered me to have sex that you like wanted to do something with penis and vagina and all of that stuff." And she was like, "Ew, like people don't have sex like that anymore. That's so archaic. Please." Hmm. I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff, y'all. But yeah, and I love the fact that this song, back to that subject. I love the fact that this song focused on the positive, and some parts of the song, yeah, did speak to the struggle. Oh, but the main focus was the positive. Now, there are other songs out there that focus on the struggle. And I get it. Like, there's a time and a place for everything, I guess. But when I listen to music, I try to connect to it mentally to the point that I'm thinking of myself in what's going on with it and how my life connects to it. And when songs talk about too much focus on the struggle, what I do, if it's a song that I like, I'll find myself diving into how much my life connects with that struggle. And I talked with my mental health counselor about it, because BetterHelp allows you to do virtual chats and face to face virtual conversations. So I was talking with her about it, and she offered some excellent advice. Like when listening to these songs that focus on struggle, you can get into it for a little bit, but don't go too far. Don't go too far. Pull yourself out. Don't spend too much time in it. So that goes way back to where I am still in terms of listening to songs that talk about throwing a man away. But if it's a good song, I'll still want to hear it. But I won't allow myself to repeat it more than 5 times. And then I call it quits and move on to happy songs. And I feel that's been helping me in life and maintaining happy and maintaining my happy with my love. Oh, I love him, y'all. Yes, I do. And some people might not understand. My Gen Z people understand, though. You could fall in love online and develop a connection. And like I said, he is more consistent than any man that I have ever dated before him. He's always there. Just as now that's a CC Winans song talking about God Almighty. Hallelujah. In addition to God Almighty, he's very consistent and at just a touch of the button. And I'll also say this to his credit. In the early days when we started dating, he explained that he stays really busy because his professional life is really busy. He does a lot. And because of the fact that anyway, I'm talking to y'all about too much. How many? Okay. Talk to y'all later, social media family. Hashtag VerseTV family. Peace. Hashtag VerseTV.com. Stay blessed. All right. I think that's a fair ending, right? Fair closing. All right.